Okay, I think that angle can work. Okay, cool. Hi, how's it going? How are you? My name is Jack. This is my cat's paw, and this is my quarantine hair. Hope you're doing well in these weird times. I'm doing okay. I mean, I'm kind of doing okay. I, to be honest, have mono. If you're thinking this is a weird and bad time to get mono, I would agree. Did you know that your skin can get completely red? Like all over red? I didn't know that. I had no idea. It's doing a lot better now. You can see in my arms are still a little bit red. Yeah, just a little bit. My face is a little bit, but it's always a little bit, so not that different than usual. I wanted to talk today about my scars. They are hypertrophic, I think is the word. I should definitely have looked that up before I started this. What that just means is that they are big and red and thick. And some people's scars, most people's scars, fade. Mine will not. Or at least they will not fade a whole lot. I'm gonna be talking a little bit quieter than usual because of roommates and such, and there's a lot of birds that are talking probably louder than I am, but I hope this is still a good time for you. Okay, let's do the thing. So I'm gonna show you my scars. My skin is probably still a little bit red, like I said, from mono things, but I think it's fine. These are my results. Yeah, that's my chest. I had surgery on February 14th, Valentine's Day, in 2019, so it has been a year and 2 months, I believe. I'm also, just so people know, for if they're curious, I've been on low-dose testosterone for a little over 2 years, so like 2 years and 4 months, I think. I guess it's almost 2.5 years. Oh boy, I really like them. I like the placement. I like the look. I like that they're not just straight across and that they have some curvature, but not too much curvature. But they are definitely more red than most. If you look at most people's year post-op surgery results, they are not this red, they're not this thick, they're starting to fade, and mine have no sign of doing that. For context, I do have some other scars. With the shoulder, I have like a scar, I don't even know why I'm pointing it out to you, because you can't see it, because it had totally faded away. One on my chin, I have one on my knee. None of those had any problems fading away, and they faded away fairly quickly. So I really didn't think that this was going to be an issue. I did everything that you were supposed to, followed the guidelines very strictly that my doctor gave me. My doctor, by the way, was Dr. Mosser in San Francisco. What I didn't do is I didn't use any sort of topical treatment for my scars because I was just a little bit anxious about it. I've seen some things online, like a video or something where someone is using a topical cream, and then one of the comments will say something like, actually it's been proven that this type of vitamin can make scars worse or bigger. And I honestly felt like I was going to be significantly more paranoid about what I was doing if it was harming my body than if I did nothing at all, if that makes sense. So some people are really into scar treatment, and that's totally fine. That's yours to explore with, but I decided I wasn't going to do that. And in truth, these types of scars, from what I've heard, someone else can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've heard, these types of scars don't really change based on those treatments. These types of scars are just going to be what they're going to be, from my understanding of them. I started healing 1 month in. I took this photo, we're just a little over 1 month in, and they look great. They're thin, they're fine. I really like the curvature, not too curved, but curved just enough. This is about 4 months in, these photos, and around this time, they were very raised scars. You can't tell in the photo, but they were super raised. This is around the 6-month mark. This is the frattiest photo I've ever taken. In this photo, you can't see that they're raised, but they are both thick and raised. And I'm starting to notice around this time that they are going from being, how do I even describe it? It's like, if you can imagine like a piece of Play-Doh and you roll it up and it's that long thing of Play-Doh. It's a pretty thick rope that you have, and then you flatten it out. And then when it flattens out, it goes from being thin to kind of spreading out. This is what they were starting to do. So they were starting to turn from one raised red line to a bigger, just as red line. It's not what I was hoping for, but I wasn't too bummed about it. And so here we are now. I took these a day after 1 year post-op. If you look at anyone else's 1 year post-op photos, they are not this red, they're not this thick. So I guess in kind of conclusion, I didn't know for a long time, and If I were to advise someone else on whether their scars are the same that my scars are, I kind of would say that I don't think you really know until around the 6-month mark how they're going to heal. Mine were thin and looked like everyone else's scars probably until month 3 or so, and then after that they just became what they became. I don't mind it though that much, to be honest. I feel like no one's ever going to look at me and just sort of walk by and do a double take, thinking, oh, is that a scar? Because it is very clearly a scar. I'm also very pale, I should point out, and so that makes it seem perhaps more red. But I think the stretching of the scar is not the most important aesthetic feature. I can't speak for everyone there, but I would say this. If you had told me that I was going to have a really thick scar, I would have already been disappointed. The whole time leading up to the 6-month mark where I could lift my arms, I was worrying about it. I was worrying about making my scars thicker. I was worrying about them being too red. I wanted them to fade. They're still red, they're still big, they're still very noticeable, but I really don't care. I don't think that's the most important factor in whether your chest looks good or whether you can be happy with it. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say for you, but for me, I thought that was a much bigger factor than it actually was. If you're going to be having surgery soon and you're worried about your scars not fading away, I would also say that it's not so bad. Another question, I suppose, is does anyone ever ask me about it? And in truth, people do. I'm shirtless at the gym, and some usually older man asks me about it maybe once a week. It says something about like, what surgery did you have? Or like, God, they really chopped you open. I think someone said that once. No one's ever said anything discriminatory towards me or something that made me think, wow, they must know what surgery this was. They do give unsolicited advice too about how to get rid of it. One guy once asked me about it. My answer, by the way, in case anyone wants to use it, is that I had non-cancerous lumps removed from my chest, because that is 100% true. So I said that to this guy, and this guy was like, oh wow, well, I got stabbed. He pulls up his shirt and he has a scar running this way, about this long, from a stab wound. So that was a trip. I really hope that people come away from this video thinking that it's not your fault if you have these kinds of scars. There's nothing you could have done differently. Some bodies just heal this way. I think so much of the trans community talks about how to make your scars as thin as possible, and not to yuck their yum. That's what they want, that's what they want to do, and I have nothing against that. Something can be really beautiful about having a nice scar. I want to see them just close real quick. This is what they look like up close, and you can see it's still got that raised thing here, but everywhere else it has flattened out. So now it's a pretty flat scar, but it's pretty thick and goes all the way around here to this side, here to this side. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are wondering where I am, I moved to San Diego, so that's where I am, in my new apartment. This is my first video I've made in a while, and I really hope to make more of them. So yeah, thank you so much, really appreciate it. One last thing, really quick. I just totally forgot to mention that I put out an album, a music album of singing and synth pop and dream pop and galactical pop. I produced it with my best friend and collaborator, my favorite collaborator, Quay. We put it up on Spotify and everywhere else in the world, and we have some music videos coming out for it. If you want to listen to it, I'm gonna link, I don't know where in the video, but somewhere I'm gonna link one of the music videos for it. It's for a song that is definitely on the indie side. It's acoustic. It's a little bit sad, but in hopefully some good ways that you can vibe with. The rest of the album, though, has a lot of pop and dream pop and 80s kinds of sounds. So yeah, you can find it on Spotify or wherever else you stream tunes. Okay, bye.